Darlington is the fastest stock car track in the world. Men have made it that way. Their search for new horizons and speed has a proud and exciting history.
We know can really do the cool jack. We know can really do the cool jack. Well, this cat you're talking about, I wonder who could it be? 'Cause I know I'm the heaviest cat you ever did see. When they see me walking down the street, hey, hey, none of the fellas want to speak. Hey, hey, on their faces they wear silly smirk, 'cause they know I'm the king of the cool jack. Woo!
They are carrying with them the hopes and dreams of mechanics and drivers who have challenged the Darlington Raceway through the years.
Cool jack. Cool jack. Come on, people. Cool jack. Can you do it now? Cool jack. Come on, people. Can you do it? 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 Cool jack. Come on, people. Cool jack. Can you do it now? Cool jack. Come on, people. Cool jack. Now you doing it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Flatout Racing Network's coverage of the second annual Fitty Racing Southern 200, here from the 1957 version of Darlington Raceway as we get ready for 147 laps of historic action here at the track Too Tough to Tame. I'm Seth Cole alongside of Jack Mitchell. Jack, we're getting ready to see what I've had accurately described boats with wheels making their way around this racetrack here tonight, topping out maybe about 120, 125 miles per hour if you're lucky. Passing is difficult. It's going to be quite an interesting one for these guys here this evening.
It certainly is. They do kind of look like boats with wheels, now that you mention it. Kind of have like a speedboat vibe in the back of the cars, if you will. But should be really interesting to see how these old school style cars race at an old school style Darlington. I'm looking forward to seeing the action tonight.
Absolutely. We got a total of 23 drivers going to be taking the green flag tonight. Correction, 22 drivers going to be taking the green flag here. Going to be talking a lot about this racetrack. A lot of effort was put into it in the design. This is a brand new racetrack. All sorts of fancy graphics and some good looking race cars. As here we go. Let's turn them loose. The Southern 200 is underway. Man, I don't know if they could go for 500 miles.
Probably not.
You saw them three wide, three abreast. Ooh, we got contact for second place. Jack Mitchell into the side of the 46 of Garcia. Oh, we got some wrecking already in the back. Looks like we're going to get ourselves a little bit of a race restart here. We do have one at our disposal. But not surprised we were going to be using this one out of the gate.
Pretty quickly to get things to hit the reset button and get things back underway shortly. That was a little bit of a chaotic restart. I guess that the three wide restart probably contributed to that.
So we'll take the opportunity here and give you an idea of who's in the field here tonight as they'll line up in that three-wide formation once again. It's going to be the 66 of Jolene Sims capturing the pole position. On the middle of row number one is going to be that purple number 24 of Jack Merkel. On the outside, the number 42 of Sebastian Kukulon. Back in row number two, inside line is going to find the 48 of Cody Lamas. Joshua Mercurio will be the middle line driver, and on the outside is going to be Hector Garcia. Interesting, 48, 47, 46 there in row 2. I don't think they worked it out that way, but makes things kind of interesting. They numerically in order lined up. Row 3 is going to find the 69. That is Braden Coriath. The middle of that third row will be the 96 of Ulysses Sandoval, and then Kenny Campos will start on the outside of row number 3. Rich Roy will be on the inside of row 4. Middle line's going to be Landon Lyle in the 111, and the outside's going to be the number 9 of Mathis Wells. Back in row number 5 is going to be the number 92 on the inside of Bryson Miller. Blake Warren will be in the middle, and on the outside is going to be the number 81 of Carl Childress. Row 6 is going to find on the inside Dalton Tubbs in the 50. Matt McIntyre will be in the middle in the 738, and the outside the number 98 of Keon Daly. Back in row number 7, inside line number 99 of Landon Laudenbach. Middle line is going to find the 2 of RJ Bishop, and on the outside will be the 35 of Trevor Davis. And bringing up the final car in the field, going to have a row all to himself, is going to be the number 12 of Cole Mathers. So we'll give it one more try here. 147 laps await these drivers here this evening. Let's see if they can make it through 1 and 2. 1 and 2, people will have to remember, back in 1957, Darlington's current 3 and 4 used to be 1 and 2. So it is the more compact, narrower area of the racetrack, making it very difficult for these drivers here on the initial start and the upcoming restarts.
See if these guys took any lessons away from that initial attempt at starting the race.
How settled out are we going to get here as they make their way through 1 and 2? Double wide for the most part. They were 3 wide middle of the pack.
Oh boy.
Appeared to get it somewhat sorted out. We're making some contact back here, rubbing doors, but I think we're going to get through okay. Yes, we are.
Couple hiccups here and there, but it looks like everybody able to keep it straight, keep it going.
Sebastian Kukulon just bounced off the wall there. They're going into 3. That's going to allow the 66 of Sims to get away. 3 and 4 are going to be the easiest corners for these drivers here. You can almost hold it full throttle there in 3 and 4.
Something that I think sketches me out a little bit about this old school Darlington track is the fact that there's no catch fence. It's just a guardrail. And if your car goes flipping, you're going to be taking a trip over that guardrail. It's
funny because, credit to Robbie Gilvin, the guy that put this together. He's the defending winner of this race, but he's up in the tower doing administrative duties here tonight, so we're guaranteed a brand new winner in the Southern 200. But put together, not only as mentioned, the effort into creating the track. A lot of the cars you see out on the racetrack this evening, he painted, and he also put together a really cool looking old school program. And in that, one of the pages actually gives you odds of who has the best odds of winning, who has the best odds of making it to the end of the race, and, to your point, has the odds of who might be the most favorable to go over that guardrail wall here tonight.
I didn't even notice that.
I believe that Landon Lyle currently is at the top of that board right now at 100 to 1.
Yeah, definitely credit to Robbie Gilvin. He put in a whole lot of work making this race possible, and the track looks great. I mean, we've seen, he's shown us over the course of working on the track and adding everything to it, he's shown us how much progress he's made, and it definitely looks great. So shout out to Robbie for putting everything together.
Rich Roy up into the wall back here. Blake Warren a ways back. Keon Daly has lost touch with everybody there, but all drivers right now, all 20 of them, still pointed in the right direction. Yeah, visually, I should say, track beautiful, but in terms of racing as well, I took the opportunity here tonight. I was curious. I wanted to know exactly what these drivers are going to be feeling. It's one of the few races I'm actually bummed to be up here in the booth. This track, this setup, these cars, they are fun to drive. They are slippy, slidey, but man, it is a blast to turn these laps here at this racetrack with this setup. Six-car breakaway up here at the front of the field. Sims, Kukulon, Merkel, Lamas Garcia, and Mercurio right now, all basically within striking shot of the race leader. Then a bit of a gap back here to Kenny Campos, who's got Landon Lyle right behind him, and Bryson Miller. I believe that was Braden Coriath that may have just barely brushed the wall there off of turn number 4.
I feel like the early laps of this race are telling me it's going to be a war of attrition. It's just single file throughout basically the whole field right now. The top 6 are pretty close together, but you're just going to want to try and pick your moments and find the right area of the racetrack where you can try to make as many passes as you can.
Early portion of the race, we were battling the drivers. Now we're battling the racetrack.
We are.
Battle back here. Cody Lamas putting a block on Joshua Mercurio. That's for 4th position. Mercurio with those left sides down the apron there through 3 and 4. That's not terrible. It'll lose you some momentum, but you actually, amazingly enough, down there on the apron is a viable option. If you can get the car to rotate through the center, you can actually put enough wheel into it, get all 4 tires down there on the apron, and use that as a viable racing line coming off the corner. The one thing you gotta be careful of, though, make sure you don't put too much wheel into it or else the back end will step out. So it's kind of a risk-reward for drivers. Passing so difficult at this racetrack, so sometimes drivers might actually be willing to take that risk just to try and pick up the position because it may be the only option they've got.
I mean, it very well could be. It feels like this is what we're used to out of Darlington from any time period, is the fact that you're more battling the track than the other drivers as the green flag runs get longer. So have to see who's best equipped to handle the racetrack and the changing conditions. I think there might have been a little contact in that battle for second.
And Merkel going to look to the inside of Sebastian Kukulon if he completes the pass, which he will do. That's going to put Studebakers 1st and 2nd in the 66 and the 24. Moving back, the number 42 of Sebastian Kukulon in that Chrysler. Whoa, we got one around back there. That's Hector Garcia in the 46. Looked like maybe just a single car incident. We are still green, at least for the time being there, so problems for the driver out of Miami, Florida. His Oldsmobile goes around out of turn 4, and he was running at the time in 6th. It looks like, we'll have to see where he cycles around to. Ooh, look at the contact being made back here.
Oh,
that's
boy.
RJ Bishop getting into the 81. Carl Childress saves it. Oh, but the 99 has gone around. Landon Laudenbach. Are we still green is the question, and yep, pace car still sits there at the exit pit road, so we still stay under the green flag, despite some little dust up there in the mid-pack area.
A little hiccup for some drivers there, and definitely, one car that goes wrong for too long might end up bringing out the caution, so I think the leader is right now kind of fortunate that he was able to stay green.
I was looking through a number of these cars throughout the field here. I did not notice the 29 of Rich Roy. Mobile 1 logo on the side, but it doesn't say Mobile 1. It says Yoshi.
Must be a Yoshi man in Smash Bros.
Guess so. Oh, looks like caution is out now. Yep. So they have frozen the field, so caution's going to wave for the first time here, but a nice little 9-lap run after we had to have that overall race restart. They should have pit road open this time. It's going to be interesting to watch these guys coming down pit road if any of them decide to pit, because there is no pit wall actually separating the racetrack from pit lane. I'm not exactly sure where the parameters are of where you have to merge to come into your pit stall and where you have to merge to leave. There may actually be nothing of that kind. I've also been told that this racetrack has no pit road speed, so that way nobody will end up getting a black flag for speeding, but doesn't mean you're allowed to fly down into your pit stall and fly out leaving. Not that you can really do that here with this setup and the amount of speed you can carry.
I don't think I would try it if I was behind the wheel.
No. We've seen some drivers overshooting their pit stalls there. That's Landon Lyle. About 2-3 pit stalls past where he was supposed to be.
That can kind of be an issue, too, on a pit road that doesn't have a speed limit, is you can kind of think that, okay, I can go a little bit faster down pit road, and the next thing you know, you've missed your pit stall.
Cody Lamas down and away. Jolene Sims going to be the first one out, but it looked like maybe RJ Bishop. I don't know if he missed his pit stall. Oh, no, I believe actually, I think he's the only driver that's got a pit stall in the back straightaway here.
Bit of a unique view for RJ.
So he'll come down here to the attention of his crew. Yep, looks like he is the only driver back there. You also got the server car and the admin car pit boxes here on the back stretch. So Jolene Sims and the rest of the field will move by RJ Bishop, and Jolene will go back to the point. We were we were triple file on the initial start. We're going to be single file on these upcoming restarts, so should be a little less chaotic for these drivers when we eventually go back green. Jolene Sims has been fast all night long. Was top of the board in practice, set the pole lap at a 42.093, and so far has led the opening 10 completed laps of this race. Going to be a tough car to pass if she continues to maintain the track position.
Indeed, but I think that also kind of adds a little bit of pressure, if you will, too, because she's been out in front for so long. Now she kind of feels like she might feel like she has to try and maintain the lead now for a considerably long period of time, at least long enough to be considered a real threat to win the race. But so far, so good.
During that green flag run, the number 98 of Keon Daly went a lap down. He should, I believe, get the free pass, get back in the lead laps. I would put all 20 drivers that started this race back on the same lap as leader Jolene Sims, and we'll have to see. It is manual cautions here in this race, so we have to wait and see if race control determines that we're ready to turn them back loose or not. Make their way down the back straightaway here, and more than likely we'll end up seeing them go back green at the start-finish line. Looks like everybody's all caught up, so I'd be surprised if we're not actually going to get the restart right here. And we'll see if anybody is able to catch and pass Jolene Sims for the first lead change of the night. Cody Lamas will line up in second, Jack Merkel third, Sebastian Kukulon will be fourth, and Ulysses Sandoval fifth. Then it'll be Mathis Wells, Bryson Miller, Landon Lyle, Joshua Mercurio, and Braden Koriath. The top 10. Lap 12 to be completed. Lap 13 will go up on the board as we get ready to go back racing here in the Southern 200. It's almost difficult to tell if they're actually accelerating right there.
I was going to say, it felt like we were still under pacing for a moment there. It took the cars a little while to get through the gears and get back going again. A great restart for Sims.
Whoa,
Ooh.
Making some contact back here.
A little bit more in the back.
That was Sandoval making some contact with, I think that might have been Joshua Mercurio. Sandoval started fifth, but had a problem there through 1 and 2. Cody Lamas trying to hold off the 24 of Jack Merkel. Cody Lamas, highest running of the Chevrolets so far in this race. Driver out of Tampa, Florida. Whoa, Sandoval around there in the middle of the pack. Looks like maybe the only car that spun. Nope, there's more. Oh, big hit for Dalton Tubbs. Landon Laudenbach is around as well in the 99. I'd be surprised if this wasn't a yellow. We'll have to see when the leaders come around here if they start decreasing speed or not. Might be the second caution of the night. And yep, looks like they're fanning out here. So indeed, that is going to bring out the caution. That was a big shot for the back end of the 50.
It was. A lot of spinning, a lot of contact.
We saw Sandoval. He started in 5th position on that restart. Fell back to about 8th or 9th by the time they made their way through 1 and 2. I'm almost wondering if most drivers went with tires and he didn't. So he might have had worn cooler tires, which are certainly not optimal when you're at a track like Darlington, as you just see that thing start coming around
Yeah.
on him. He's trying to save it, but just couldn't ultimately do it.
It was definitely a tire problem. You could see he started to kind of lose it through that corner, and then by that point, nobody else could really do anything.
We'll have to see what happened there with Dalton Tubbs, because that was a big hit as he came flying in. Sandoval probably thinking, oh, this is a harmless spin, I'm fine. Then suddenly the 50 appears in his windshield. Oh yeah, it just looks like maybe Laudenbach overcorrected up into the wall. When he bounced into the 50 of Dalton Tubbs, it shoots him down the racetrack and into that inside wall there. RJ Bishop did a nice job of snaking his way through, as did Carl Childress. Looks like we do have a few drivers hitting pit road, but none of the leaders at this point in time, as we only went about 2-3 green flag laps right there. This is Sandoval back in here. Not sure, he might have been having an issue getting service on that raced car. It's like Matt McIntyre, RJ Bishop, Landon Laudenbach, they all came down pit road as well. And they should, I think, maybe catch the field in time for us to go green. They may go an extra lap. We'll have to wait and see what race control determines here. Jack Merkel's a long ways back there in the 24, and he was up here towards the front. I'm not sure if he made a pit stop. We'll wait for scoring to update and find out if that was the case or not.
It's an interesting one. Like you said, he was running up near the front of the field for most of the early portion of this race. Now I see him all the way back in, what is that, 11th place? So not too sure what happened in that 24 car.
No, he did pit. Scoring says he pit. So too did the 46 of Hector Garcia and the 47 of Joshua Mercurio. So interesting strategy there. I don't know if that's more so for tires or maybe for fuel. I'm not sure. But it's going to put them back in traffic. Merkel was up as high as 2nd place, and Mercurio was up as high as 5th. Should be getting the green flag this time by. Lap 18 will go up on the board. Still a long ways to go in this 147-lap marathon. As Jolene Sims continues to show the way, Cody Lama, Sebastian Kukulon, the top 3. Mathis Wells now up into the top 5 and 4th. Landon Lyle going to be 5th. As we get ready to go up through the gears once again. And interesting point of note, only 3 gears for these drivers here tonight. If you reach for that 4th gear, there's nothing there.
Cody Lamas, I think, got in the wall on that restart just a little bit, and now there's a bit of a side-by-side battle, and that's exactly what the 66 wants to see.
Kukulon tried to keep it up there on the outside without hitting that guardrail. May have brushed it a little bit, and Cody will hang on to P2. Landon Lyle with a move to the inside there of Mathis Wells going into 3. Slides up the track. That could open up the door for Braden Koriath behind him in the 69 car.
A pretty steep transition from the flat part of the turns to the banking, so not surprised that he slid up the racetrack as front of the field. We could have a contest for the lead here. Yeah, Cody Lama's going to go right around the outside of the 66 to the race lead.
First mistake Jolene Sims has made the whole race so far. May have gotten a little wide off of turn 4, brushed the wall, and that killed momentum. These cars are slow, but that's why they rely on momentum so much. Trouble in the back. Hector Garcia's gone around. Matt McIntyre in the 738. It's been a tough early night so far for Landon Laudenbach. That's the 3rd wreck I think he's been involved in. As we'll see if that brings out the yellow or not. Cody Lamas brings us around, and it looks like... Yep, looks like we're slowing up here. So caution will wave, but Cody Lamas able to take control of the race after getting around the 66, who led the opening 18 laps. Everybody trying to make their way back around here to receive the yellow, and let's go back and take a look at what happened. Looked like maybe it started with the 46 of Hector Garcia. Well,
More like RJ Bishop.
this was going into 1.
Got into the wall, and the 46 didn't exactly get around him that cleanly.
Oh, and then they checked up ahead of him again there. That was Jack Merkel up into the wall.
Tough sequence for Garcia. That's 2 cars in basically back-to-back corners that he has to try and get around because they're checking up. And the first time he was able to get it around it pretty smoothly. The second time, not so much.
Late hit there as well into Matt McIntyre from the 98 of Keon Daly. And pit road is open once again. Well, we saw him pull off a pretty nice move there to take the race lead. I gave you my opinion on how the racing is and how these race cars drive. Let's get a word with one of the drivers and see how this early going of the race has been going for driver 48. Okay, apparently I cannot move him. Never mind. Not sure why I'm not able to, but I'm not able to. Okay, let's see if we can dial up a different driver. How about a driver that we ended up seeing actually get a little piece of that incident there? See if we can get a hold of RJ Bishop.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, RJ, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Hello.
So we saw you have a little contact there with Mercurio up there to the outside wall. Obviously, we knew coming into tonight, heard drivers documenting. I turned some laps with you guys. Passing is really difficult, so I know that obviously it's tough enough when you're up at the front. What about being mid-pack where you were mired there just before that incident?
Not fun. Not fun.
Is there any way to set up a pass here, or is it more so just kind of relying on somebody else to make a mistake?
It feels like survival
Probably
out there.
if someone makes a mistake, to be honest.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like a lot of survival out there. It feels like a lot of moves are being made that you kind of
I'm
just
just
have
staying
to.
back here where it's somewhat safe.
Yeah. I was gonna ask if that is that kind of your mindset going forward for the rest of this race, but it seems like you just answered that question in the affirmative.
Probably. For now.
Alrighty, well, we'll let you get back to it. I think you guys have been given the indication of 1 to green, and also you can let Cody know that because he's got VIP access in here, I can't move him into the booth, so we're not talking to him tonight.
Okay, I'll tell him.
User was moved out of your channel.
So the aforementioned Cody Lamas going to be getting us back under green. Jolene Sims will line up in second, Sebastian Kukala in third, then Mathis Wells, Landon Lyle, your top 5. Braden Koryath will be 6th, Rich Roy 7th, 8th, Kenny Campos, Josh Mercurio in 9th, and Dalton Tubbs is going to be the top 10. Green flag back in the air here. Cody with, didn't look like quite as good a launch right there. The 66 of Jolene Sims was able to close up onto his back bumper as they approached 1 and 2.
Curious to see what line Cody tries to maintain. Looks like the middle of the racetrack, which is so far the good move, but now they're getting onto the backstretch, and I thought the 66 maybe almost got alongside him there, but Cody able to stay out in front for the time being.
Carl Childress was really low there coming out of 1 and 2. They almost looked like they were going to take him 3 wide, and now he'll put his machine down on the apron, getting out of harm's way as everybody will cycle their way around him. 46 of Hector Garcia down there on the apron as well, right in front of Lodenbach. Looks like they're going to get spread out single file here for the most part, so we may be able to settle into a longer green flag run here. Ooh, look at Cody way up there to the guardrail. 66 of Sims was able to wrap the bottom nicely. Oh, we got trouble in the back there. Nice save by Mathis Wells after he got slideways. I don't think that'll bring out the yellow. We should be good. Might have had contact with the triple one of Landon Lyle, who's also slow, making his way down the back straightaway.
But he was able to kind of straighten it back out, though, so I think we should stay under green flag conditions.
Yep, no decreasing of speed here for leader Cody Lamas. That is going to allow, though, the top three to scamper away. Fourth place on back, a big gap to have to make up. As Braden Coriath there in that number 69 Cadillac. This is the car that went to victory lane in the inaugural Southern 200 with Robbie Gilvin behind the wheel. Looking for back-to-back victories here at this event. Trying to hold off the 47 of Joshua Mercurio in what's the battle for fourth place right now.
Almost wonder if maybe there's a thought in the back of your mind, too, that you're driving the car that won the race last year. As we got a car around that's Ulysses Sandoval.
No contact with anybody there. We also have another car around. That's Carl Childress in the 81. Oh! Keon Daly's going to get Ulysses Sandoval on that front straightaway. And that might bring out the yellow.
That was a hard hit.
Oh, caution was actually already out.
I guess that initial spin brought out the yellow flag.
So I thought that Keon Daly a couple of cautions ago was going to get the lucky dog. I guess we're running Grand National rules where the lucky dog was not a thing at that time, so he's still a lap down. Also looks like the 92 of Bryson Miller dealing with some internet connection problems. He fell from the server about 9 laps ago, is yet to return. So right now he is multiple laps down in the 20th position. Has not reconnected as of this moment. A little gamesmanship here.
Something else that you can kind of do when there's no wall between the track and pit road, and when it's all fair game, you can kind of fool some other cars into thinking that you're going to stay out and then immediately take a dive on the pit road.
Yeah, there's no wall, no commitment line to force you to commit in terms of the art of fake pitting here. So yeah, that makes things very interesting in that regard. As we'll try and take a look and see what brought out this yellow. Oh, I don't think it was the Sandoval incident.
I don't think it was either. Now we're seeing more cars going around.
We saw Mathis Wells have an issue earlier through 1 and 2. Looks like as he was coming back up the racetrack here, Blake Warren moves low, had a lot more momentum, gets into the left rear of the 9. 2 of RJ Bishop right there as well.
Just tagged him a little bit, and that was all it took to send all those cars around.
That's the thing about these cars as well that drivers have to get used to here, is the fact that the hitboxes are so much different than what they would be used to, just based off of the fact that you think you are going to make contact with somebody, you don't, or you think that you're not going to make contact with somebody and you do. I ended up having an incident like that where I was running behind Ulysses Sandoval, got up to his left rear quarter panel, lifted off the corner and spun out, realized after I had lifted I wasn't making contact with him, but it looked like visibly on my screen like I was going to. So it's a bit of a gray area here for these drivers in just how far can they push it before the sim actually recognizes it as contact between one driver and the other. And it looks like, unfortunately, a couple of drivers are not going to reach the conclusion of this one. Ulysses Sandoval, after we saw that big hit that he took from Keon Daly, he's now got his race car back in the infield, and the same for RJ Bishop, who I believe ended up, I don't know if he ended up blowing a gear, but it's saying engine clutch, so something went wrong internally on his number 2 Dodge.
Tough break for RJ.
I'm not calling that the commentator's curse, with us
I'm not
talking
either.
to him and then he having the engine problem.
Yeah, we were talking to him after he was involved in an earlier incident, so I don't think we cursed him if he was already having a rough race to begin with. But
what was the
it's a tough
words he
break for
said
RJ.
before we moved him back? I'm staying in the back where it's safe, somewhat.
Somewhat being the key word there.
Looks like Bryson Miller has connected back, so we should see the 92 on track here again momentarily. And I thought we were going to go back green. Looks like they've waved it off, so we'll run one more pacing lap here. Jolene Sims back out in front after Cody Lamas elected to pit under this caution. Sebastian Kukulon will line up in second. Josh Mercurio, Dalton Tubbs, and Landon Laudenbach going to be the top 5. I know it's very early on, but a good comeback run there for Dalton Tubbs. We saw him slam the inside wall off the exit of turn 2 at the back end of his race car in the early stages, but looks like he's still competitive up here inside of the top 5.
It'll help your mindset too in this race because it's a marathon. 147 laps are not going by that fast, but that means that there's plenty of time to recover from a bad incident. When you can do it early on in the race, it can kind of reassure yourself, okay, something might have happened, but I'm able to work my way back up here and I can probably compete for this thing.
So we should get the green flag this time by. We'll be 30 laps into this race. Right now, scoring has 17 drivers running, 16 of them on the lead lap. And number 66 of Jolene Sims, who has led 20 laps so far tonight, will lead him back into turn number 1.
Has not really had to battle Kukulon, though, for the race lead, so we'll see how Kukulon approaches things. We got some 2-wide racing a little bit further behind them. Almost 3-wide.
They're trying to make their way around Matt McIntyre, who restarted in 7th place. Looks like he got way up high there through 1 and 2. May have brushed the outside wall. Cody Lamas and Hector Garcia almost had some contact with each other trying to get around him. Ooh, and Hector definitely got the wall there through 3 and 4 as well.
Ooh. More contact with the wall for Matt McIntyre. That's going to allow Cody to clear him for that position.
Kenny Campos now up and into the wall. Look at the momentum it scrubs off. And Jack Merkel's going to get into him. Can he save it? He does, but I think we're wrecking further back. Keon Daly and Carl Childress have gone around. Nice save there by Campos. Let's see if we stay green. Everybody's pointed back in the right direction. Top 3 have been able to break away from 4th place. And looks like race officials saying track is clear. Let them race. We're still green flag conditions.
Not to call out race control or anything, but I'm glad that they did that because we were just under a long caution period. So I think it's good that we have things back underway. We're going to be able to keep it straight, so we keep this going.
Kukulon with a
One might
moment
have gotten
right
the wall
there.
there.
Big wiggle. As Joshua Mercurio going to hunt him down for 2nd place. Take a look at the interior of these race cars and watch the hand motion of the 47 of Mercurio as he's trying to put the pressure on Kukulon, trying to get up to the runner-up spot before maybe setting his sights on the race lead. You just saw right there, left side, coming off of the apron was the 92, the Hudson Hornet livery. Back into the race here now, multiple laps down. This is a weird thing too, because they're in third gear all the way around the racetrack, but when I was running behind some of these guys, you can see right here how it sounds like all of a sudden when we shift into high gear, once we get to the turns, it almost sounds like the car's just bogging down. And I could have sworn the driver in front of me at the time was clutching. I thought that was what they were doing, and that wasn't the case. It's just the way, I guess, the setup is. The car just bogs down into the track through the corners, pops back up, and then you get the higher gear sound when you hit the straightaways.
I feel like it's like that would be a combination of both the setup and the track, because you know these turns, we've talked about how the cars are slipping and sliding throughout each of these turns. You can see how back and forth Josh is turning this wheel here. So I feel like it's a combination of both. Kind of having to fight the car a little bit on the turns and fight the track as well.
At your point, that wheel motion there, seeing an awful lot more turning to the right than I am to the left. These cars get very slidey, specifically through the second half of the corners, especially off of turn number 2. It's interesting to watch the different lanes there as well. You saw the 66 almost go up to the guardrail, Kukulon kind of straddling the middle, and Mercurio had it pinned down as close to that white line as he possibly could.
It can make holding your line a little bit tricky too. It's not impossible to do, but when you're fighting the track so much through the turns, you can't really keep it. Like he's tried to pin it there against that white line, but didn't quite make it work.
And it may seem a little odd to say, but I remember earlier on in practice, I heard the driver of the 50, Dalton Tubbs, say, as long as I drive this track like a dirt track, I'm going to be okay. And in a lot of ways, you kind of have to have a dirt track style to be able to make your way around these corners, specifically when that rear grip starts to go away off the corner exits.
Yeah, I think that was an interesting take, but he's not totally wrong either, because, again, we talked about all the back and forth wheel turning. That's something you see a lot on dirt tracks to try to keep your car as secure as possible. So I can kind of understand where he's coming from when he says that.
Cody Lamas trying to make a move there on Landon Lyle for 4th. Landon Laudenbach right now in the 6th position, with Hector Garcia and Jack Merkel back behind him. Remember, we saw Garcia and Merkel pit earlier on in this race, give up track position, now trying to get it back. We saw Cody Lamas pit as well from the race lead under the last yellow. He's been able to work his way up currently into 5th. Matt McIntyre still hanging on in the 9th position after we saw him have a moment on the restart. Blake Warren currently holding down 10th. Oh, got the wall. Hangs on to it as it nose started pointing down towards the apron there on the exit of turn number 2. When I look at this car, it kind of reminds me, I don't remember which racetrack it was, but remember back when the NASCAR Cup Series Chevrolets all ran the 57 Chevy wings, and they had the 57 Chevy fronts and everything?
I think so, yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that.
I mean, I look at that car, the first thing I think of is Dale Jr., but I definitely see where you're coming from. I can remember the.
Pretty sure Dale actually was a part of that. I'm pretty sure he had the 57 Chevy look on his Budweiser Chevrolet back in the day. Remember all the Hendrick cars did it. I think the the Gibbs cars weren't Chevrolets at the time, I don't think. Maybe they were.
I seem to remember them being Pontiacs for quite a while.
Yeah, they were Pontiacs, then they were Chevys, and then, of course, they went over to Toyota. But I can't remember if they were Chevys at the time that they did the whole 57 Chevy theme or not. We mentioned Dalton Tubbs. He's right now in 11th. Been able to reel in Blake Warren for that final spot inside of the top 10. And then behind them, Mathis Wells and Braden Coriath right now in 13th and 14th. Looks like we have another driver out of the race. Sorry to cut you off there. Looks like Keon Daly in the 98 has taken his car behind the wall. So officially 3 drivers out of the race. And I have been noticing as well, they have been working to get Bryson Miller back a number of the laps he lost, currently being shown -2. They'll probably get him to 1 lap down, and then he'll probably have to get that lap back the hard way.
That's probably why we had all those that long caution period. We had a couple of laps added on under pacing when we felt that they were going to go back green. They were probably trying to work on getting him back at least to 1 lap down.
So can confirm Bryson Miller has been put to all but 1 lap. He just bypassed Keon Daly for the 17th position. Daly, Sandoval, Bishop, the only drivers currently out of this one. And Cody Lamas, we saw him a couple laps ago trying to get around Landon Lyle for 4th. He's been able to do so, plus put some distance between himself and the 111. Putting together some good lap times, he might be able to get up here with the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the 48 has definitely been one of the more consistent cars in this race, so I will be keeping my eye out for sure to see if Cody is able to drive this thing back up front and try to at least get close to this top 3 first.
Most of the drivers here in this pack of 3, 42 6s and 7s. Cody was a 42 5.
Look out here.
Sebastian Kukulon with a move. On Jolene Sims, not able to make it work, and Mercurio tried to make a move on Kukulon. Things getting a little congested up here for the race lead.
This could get a little bit dicey. Especially we talked about the strange hitboxes on these cars. They almost made contact a few times there during that battle.
Studebaker, Chrysler, Chevy. Your top 3 right now is Mercurio. Ooh, we saw a little bit of space there to the outside. Thought about it. And Kukulon slammed the door.
Gotta wonder what the mentality is of Kukulon right now, being in 2nd place in the middle of this, because he's got to try and make a pass for the lead, but he's also got to try and defend his position too.
Kukulon's going to get alongside of Jolene Sims. Sims has really been struggling these last couple of laps on the exit of turn 2. And Kukulon, do we call it a slide job? Maybe? Borderline?
Maybe.
Kukulon will go to the point. First time he's been out in front tonight.
Slide job or not, it was very effective. That was a really smooth pass. Took him a few laps to try to set it up, but once he did, he made it work.
So it looks like Jolene Sims has a better short run car than long run car. As they'll make their way to the outside there of the number 92. That is Bryson Miller. Bryson now going to go a 2nd lap down. He was 1 lap down after race administration got him to all but 1 after having some connection problems in the early going of this race. And I think that we may end up having some more traffic that the leaders are going to have to deal with here momentarily in the form of Rich Roy and Carl Childress. They're about maybe 2/3 of a straightaway ahead of this group of 3.
Definitely feels like it's been our longest green flag run so far.
Definitely has. No doubt about that. Which almost makes me wonder now, the one thing I didn't do, the setup was so much fun to drive and everything, the one thing I didn't do was a long run to try and figure out what the fuel window is for these drivers, but you talked about the uniqueness of this racetrack in terms of fake pitting. What about in terms of making a decision of whether you want to pit that lap or not? I mean, I think of some of these guys that qualified well, have some of those pit stalls down past the start-finish line. You could be like, I don't want to pit, I don't want to pit. You cross the line, I want to pit. You can make that late decision if you want.
Had some trouble there.
That's Rich Roy and Blake Warren, who I believe are both running just outside of the top 10. We'll have to see if this brings out the yellow and breaks up what's been the longest green flag run so far here tonight. If it does come out, that's going to be huge for Carl Childress in the 81. And it looks like... Yep, looks like we are slowing up. So, yep, caution is out.
You did bring up a very interesting point, though. I'm curious to see if we get another long green flag run, if that does come up where drivers decide to fake pit in the middle of green flag racing.
I mean, with what appears to be no pit road parameters for entering in and merging off, and then you've got the case of there being no pit road speed limit, I feel like some drivers could make that last minute call to come to pit lane if they've got one of those pit stalls further up towards the exit pit lane. As Blake Warren with a little tap there to the guardrail off of 4, goes for a slide down the front straightaway. There's no contact with anybody else here. But we'll see. Where's the 29? Here comes the 29 of Rich Roy, who was one of those 2 drivers that was looking to stay on the lead lap. And he's going to go around right here. Make some contact with the inside wall, but it didn't look like either the 8 nor the 29 had contact with anybody else, so I'm not sure if there might have been a solo lap, solo spin counter or something that maybe we reached that brought out that yellow flag. I didn't see anybody else have any trouble either.
I'm not totally certain what brought out that caution, but maybe it also had something to do with, too, the fact that he was slowing down on the backstretch pit road.
Oh, wait, maybe it didn't bring out the yellow. Wait. Okay. That's weird. They all slowed up over in 1 and 2, but now as we cut back here to live, they're still racing. So maybe there was some miscommunication where somebody thought that they said the caution was out, and maybe they changed their mind and kept it going. So, okay.
Oh, we were fooled.
Yeah, we were. I mean, these drivers all here, they started backing down to 60, 70 miles per hour through 1 and 2. They can hold it until about maybe 90 miles per hour. So they definitely woke up as if they thought the caution was coming out. And I guess the race control said, no, we're still green. So they opened it back up. And look how that's helped Cody Lamas to be able to reel the top 3 in now. He's got Jolene Sims right in front of him. And then about another 7-8 car lengths up to the top 2.
It helped Cody Lamas. It hurt Jolene Sims, too, because she definitely,
Oh,
I feel like...
no!
Oh, boy! Well, forget that thought.
Sims up on her roof after contact goes wrong for the 3rd position. And the pole sitter has to call a tow back to pit lane. Well, I don't think there's any question about it now. I think we're definitely under yellow.
I think so.
Kukulon going to bring them back here to the caution flag with Joshua Mercurio right behind him. I don't know who's going to cross the line in 3rd now. I don't know who was in 5th. Looks like maybe it'll be Merkel. And then Landon Lyle.
I mean, I was just talking about, too, how Jolene Sims was hurt by that, maybe, I guess, fake out caution, if you will. We thought there was going to be a yellow flag, and then we thought maybe there was a miscommunication. She was probably not expecting whatever happened to have happened, and then got caught up on that restart, and then, or on that, not restart, sorry, that battle that was happening on the front stretch, and then next thing you know, Cody Lamas made a bit of contact and completely changed the race for both of these drivers.
Yeah, we talked about how difficult it is to pass here, and turns 1 and 2, one of the toughest as the car wants to push up to that guardrail. Saw Cody try and keep it as low as possible, but the car just kept riding up, and unfortunately for Jolene Sims, First one that was going to get into that guardrail was going to be her Studebaker. Here's a look at it again. I don't know what that's done as far as damage internally on that 66. Oh. Wow, did you see Landon Lyle?
I did, yeah, that's what I was reacting to there. He just barely swerved low enough to avoid that.
That might be onboard worthy.
I think so.
This is a very strange roof cam.
Roof cam, driver's eye.
At that point, you're asking the car, please turn.
Begging for its turn. I mean, it's already tough enough to try to fight these cars at full speed when you're fighting the racetrack, and then you have to try and avoid an incident like that. Not easy.
I believe everyone came down pit road there under that caution. We did have some drivers under that green flag run there as well that were on pit lane taking service, including Dalton Tubbs, Carl Childress, Rich Roy, Bryson Miller, and Blake Warren. So they've all fallen a lap down. We've got 10 drivers currently on the lead lap at this point in time, and we will have to see when we go back green how many lead lap cars we officially are going to have. Looks like Landon Laudenbach, the 99, is the latest victim claimed by the Lady in Black. He'll get credited for 17th here tonight, joining Keon Daly, Ulysses Sandoval, and RJ Bishop in the garage area. Dalton Tubbs might have actually taken a wave around here when the leaders pit. He stayed out, so he will get back on the lead lap, be the 11th driver on the lead lap. He'll start at the tail end of the field. And Kukulon was the first off of pit road, so he will restart once again as the race leader as we are getting close to approaching halfway in tonight's race. Joshua Mercurio in second. Hector Garcia is now up to third. Matt McIntyre currently being scored in fourth with Jack Merkel fifth. Then Mathis Wells, Landon Lyle, Cody Lamas, Braden Koriath, and Jolene Sims right now the top 10. Looks like a couple other drivers were able to get their laps back under this caution period. Carl Childress, Rich Roy, and Kenny Campos. So 14 drivers will be on the lead lap here on the upcoming restart.
There's a big opportunity for some of these cars up front, too, because we talked about how Jolene Sims has basically been dominating the race up until this point. And now with that incident, she's not really going to be in the picture for quite some time. So a lot of drivers that weren't able to get around that 66 are going to have a golden opportunity right here to try and fight it out amongst themselves for the race lead.
Yeah, any other track, any other type of race car, we would talk about that kind of contact, that kind of damage, more than likely going to kill the overall speed of the 66. With how slow that they are going here tonight, I don't know just exactly how much it's really going to affect the speed of that race car, even with engine damage. Maybe it will hurt straight line speed, but aside from that, as long as the engine is still running and not in danger of going kaput, Jolene Sims might still be in this thing, but it's going to definitely be the furthest back in traffic that she's restarted tonight. So it looks like we've got the 1 to green signal here. Blake Warren's gotten back on the lead lap here as well. Bryson Miller's the only car 1 lap down. 16 drivers running, 15 on the lead lap. This is going to close out our week of broadcasting here for FRN. Looking ahead to next week, we'll kick things off on Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, as we continue the playoffs for the 2025 season for the Esports Oval League's Grind Cup Series. Their final road course stop of the season at the Charlotte Roval, the middle race of their round of 12. And then Thursday night, we've gotten the season officially underway Season 66 of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series in collaboration with Tarnation TV. You'll see us cover the second race of the season off the hills of Chuck McClure's season opening victory, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on FRN and over at our friends at Tarnation TV simultaneously on Thursday. Here we go, back green flag racing here at Darlington. Sebastian Kukulon, who so far has led 13 laps tonight, leads us into 1 and 2.
That was not a good restart for Matt McIntyre.
Saw him have an issue with the restart when he started, I think, what was up in 4th or 5th earlier on in this one. And looking at that 66 of Jolene Sims to his inside. Not sure if Jolene just got a little loose there off the corner and lost momentum, or if we're definitely seeing that top speed has been lost after the flip with the contact between her and Cody Lamas.
I just saw a car go around.
Almost. Rich Roy, I think, saved it.
And he still pointed the right way. Go on, Mercurio.
Yeah, he tried to cut it low.
Feels like they've been locked in this battle right now for the race lead for quite some time, and as we saw with what happened between Lamas and Sims earlier, it can be very easy for a two-car battle to go wrong. So I'm sure that if you're Garcia, you're kind of waiting to pounce on if the two leaders make a mistake. But at the same time, now you've got to defend that position against Jack Merkel.
Bit of a moment for Mathis Wells last time by through 1 and 2. Cody Lamas was able to get by him, as was Landon Lyle. And now Braden Koriath going to take a look to the inside of the number 9 down the back straightaway. Going to get that pass completed before even entering into turn 3. That's how you got to do it. You got to hope they brush the wall off of 2, and you can get them clear down the straightaway, because to your point, when you try racing side-by-side through the corners, pretty low percentage you're going to be able to get through there side-by-side without an end result like we saw happen earlier on, bringing out our most recent caution.
And just for the record, still nobody over the wall just yet.
No. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, our betting odds had Landon Lyle as the favorite. Cody Lamas was second. And then Hector Garcia and Carl Childress also had Sebastian Kukulon, our race leader, as a dark horse pick. I don't think that car is planning on going over the wall anytime soon. He's had a pretty stout machine here tonight.
I think he would hope he doesn't go over the wall, because he's been pretty strong out in front here in the lead. But as I say that, 47's got to run.
Rode it up a little too high there through the center of the corner, did Mercurio. Might have been thinking about diamonding it off of the turn. Just couldn't get the car to rotate. Gives a little breathing space for Kukulon right now. Merkel's been able to get around the 46 of Hector Garcia. So now he's back up into the top 3 and setting his sights on Mercurio for second. So Mercurio might have to put both eyes on the rearview mirror rather than out the windshield for a time.
Oh, a bit of a moment there for the 8 car, I think. Or not the 8, the 46. I saw red car on black roof. I thought the 8 car.
Hector Garcia able to gather it up, though, not before losing the spot to Cody Lamas, who move into 4th. Whoa, 9 car round.
Boy.
Mathis
Wells
Wells locks it down. No contact with anybody else. He was running in 8th place at the time. Should stay green. Oh, look at this.
Here we go. We're going to get
Taking
into
a
the corner
peek.
side by side. Maybe not quite.
Oh, they're going to make
boy.
contact. Oh, no. Save it. Save it. Save it. They're not going to save it. I don't know if they're going to throw a caution for that or
I
not.
don't either.
It was multi-car, but they kept going.
Somebody behind them did go around.
Kenny Campos in the 3.
That changes the complexion at the front of the field.
Puts Cody Lamas into the race lead now. He was 4th. And the top 3 all ended up getting together there. I think we're still green.
I think so. You know, I was gonna say those leaders that were involved in that incident, they spun almost, or they were pretty sideways, but nobody really actually fully spun around, and they were able to get their cars pointed back the right direction as there's a spin.
Carl Childress and Jolene Sims getting together for, I believe, that would have eventually been 7th place. That one might bring out the yellow.
Almost
Nope,
able to get
guess not.
a little separation. Yeah, I think we're still green. Smoke lingering from all those spinning too. It feels like turn 2 really has been the trouble spot as the cars make their way onto the backstretch.
And the biggest reason for that is because, as we mentioned, with this being the 1957 version of Darlington, the track is flip-flopped. Kind of people will remember how what they did to Phoenix Raceway, where they changed the configuration. What was 1 and 2 is now 3 and 4, and vice versa. It's the same deal here for Darlington. What we know as the tougher area of the racetrack 3 and 4 currently is what was back in 1957 turns 1 and 2. And with it being a tighter corner, not quite nearly as much banking, when you go up there and drift into that guardrail, the car kind of unloads as the speed decreases, back end gets lighter, and that's why we're seeing so many drivers get loose and spinning off that second corner.
Almost, it looks like he's going to have to deal with some lap traffic here if he keeps running at the pace he's currently running at.
Mathis Wells and Bryson Miller just up ahead of him. Trying to figure out which lane to take, which way to go. Mathis Wells is on the tail end of the lead lap. Contact between those two. Cody gonna, in a sense, muscle his way by and put the 9 a lap down. Hector Garcia was much cleaner getting through that. And look at the run he was able to get. He'll dive to the inside. He's not going to be clear. Boy. He walls them both. Now that is a slide job.
Absolutely, but it worked.
Oh, but he's up in the wall, though. He's going to pay the price for it. Couldn't keep it low. And just like that, in what was a move to try and pick up a spot, he's going to lose 2 of them down the front straightaway. Landon Lyle will move into second.
Now this scares me a little bit because the 2 leaders in the odds for the first car over the wall are now 1 and 2.
Oh no! I didn't even realize that. Three-way battle here for the 4th spot. Braden Coriath trying to block Sebastian Kukulon. He's going to go around off the nose of the 42.
Oh, a big shot there.
Oh, the track's going to be blocked up here. Look out. Oh, Dalton Tubbs going to get a piece.
I think everybody else managed to get around that. I think that was just another one of those, you know, tough to kind of work your way back up onto the banking from the flat portion of the racetrack. That transition, not an easy one. And I think that's what ultimately led to that crash on the yellow flag.
Almost looked like maybe the 46 was chasing the 111 there. I mean, Darlington races a lot like a short track. Short tracks breed short tempers. I don't know if there was a little disagreement between those two going on there or not. Let's take a look at what happened here. Braden was trying to run low to block Sebastian Kukulon. As he goes up the track, getting that wall, loses in momentum. He's getting loose as well. They make contact. And there's just nowhere for anybody else behind to go. Bryson Miller collected up. That hit right there for Dalton Tubbs.
In my opinion, that just seems to me like it was one of those deals where it's like you were trying to make the pass. The 69 was trying to make the pass at a wrong time. Yes, he had the run. Yes, he had the momentum. But at the end of the day, he was making the pass ultimately by the time they were entering the corner. And that was kind of all it took, because by that point, he was just a little too low on the racetrack to hold his line. And that transition, again, from the apron to the banking is not an easy one.
Could it maybe have been also an attempt here of maybe a slide job? See him kind of send it into the corner and maybe hoping that it sticks to be able to pick up the spot, but then when he got into the guardrail, it was just compromised.
Think so. Yeah, but I think whatever it was, by the time he got up into the guardrail, it was basically over for everybody there.
It's been tough so far here tonight for some of our dominant cars that have led a number of laps in this one. Of course, we ended up seeing the massive hit taken by Jolene Sims, who led the opening 35 laps of this race. Sebastian Kukulon caught up in this most recent incident, has led 19 laps so far, and Cody Lamas, who was the leader, but lost the lead to Jack Merkel here during this round of pit stops, has led 15 laps so far here in this one. And those are the only 3 drivers that have so far been out in front before Merkel took the race lead right here. So he'll be driver number 4 to have put a lap lead on the scoring chart. And look who's up in 4th. At 66 of Jolene Sims, still up here, not going away. When that incident took place, Sims was running in 7th. So I'm not 100% certain that the pole sitter's out of this yet.
I don't think so either, especially that she was able to work her way back up into 4th place. Definitely do not write that 66 off yet. Don't write the 42 off yet either. I mean, Kukulon was involved in that crash that just brought out the last caution, but he's, what is he, in like 7th, 8th, 9th?
Looks like scoring's got him in 8th, and arguably one of the best cars on the long run.
Curious to see what Merkel does with the race lead here, too. I don't think we've seen him out in front just yet, so see how he reacts to that position.
Highest he's been has been 2nd place. Should go green this time. Merkel, Lamas, Mercurio, Sims, and Lyle going to be the top 5. Followed by Dalton Tubbs, Hector Garcia, Sebastian Kukulon, Matt McIntyre, and Rich Roy. 16 drivers still running. Bryson Miller, the only car off the lead lap. As Jack Merkel, for the first time tonight, going to be the control car. And that number 24 Studebaker, driver out of Memphis, Tennessee, accelerates at the start-finish line and gets us now headed towards the second half of tonight's 2nd annual Southern 200.
It's definitely been a war of attrition so far, but with that being said, this has still been a very fun race to watch. I mean, it's definitely not what we're used to seeing with this style of racing, these style of cars, but see Merkel got on the wall a little bit there, but you know, it's been enjoyable. It's been fun to watch the different strategies, the way these drivers are running the racetrack and running every lap and trying to make use of what they can do in the corners. So looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
Certainly something different for the drivers as well. You know, not your usual high speed, lot of passing type of racetrack. You really have to strategize how you're going to approach each one of these corners. Oh, we got trouble in the back there. Garcia went around and clipped Kukulon. You also got them wrecking further back there with Campos and Wells and Miller. This will more than likely bring out a yellow as 69 of Koriath just pulled down there onto the pit road in the back straightaway, and he may be done. I'll double check on that. As Merkel brings us back here to the start-finish line. All that we saw take place. Looks like we are still staying green, though.
Everybody's still accelerating there. We saw 2 cars going around at once, but on the backstretch looks clear, so I think the race officials decided that cleared up fast enough for them to stay green.
And it looks like indeed the number 69 Cadillac will not be going to victory lane in back-to-back Southern 200s. As Braden Coriath, we saw him pull onto that back straightaway pit road. He is done for the night. He'll get credit for 16th place. That'll leave us with 15 drivers still running. Top 5 have been able to break away by over 2.5 seconds back to 6th position.
Sims is still very much in the middle of this.
Normally aero damage will not affect you in the corners, but I'm not really even seeing that 66 lose a lot of time on the straightaways here. So I think that Jolene Sims still has a clear case of maybe being able to go coast-to-coast pole to win here tonight. Certainly got a lot of time left as well to be able to work with, as we've just a couple laps ago crossed over the halfway threshold of tonight's event.
Not a great corner there for Lamas.
Curio gonna move into second, clears on the back straightaway. Sims fills the gap, contact made. Cody saves it.
Nearly had a sequel to that earlier incident.
Credit to Sims backing off, giving Cody the opportunity to gather that thing back up. Both will stay up here inside of the top 5. Landon Lyle got a front row seat of all that, currently in the 5th position. We saw the 9 on pit road of Mathis Wells. It's like he's going to fall a couple of laps down. And under that last yellow, Bryson Miller got the free pass. So after his early issues with connection problems, he's back on the lead lap. So we may not have seen the last of the fabulous Hudson Hornet here tonight.
Credit to him, too. I mean, the race officials gave him all but 1 lap back and basically told him you're going to have to earn that lap back the hard way, and he did so.
This is 6th place on back. Behind that group of 5, Dalton Tubbs trying to hold off Hector Garcia in the 46. Then you got the lap car there of Mathis Wells. Blake Warren right now 8th position for the 8. Carl Childress right now in the 9th position. And Kukalainen, after we saw him involved in that incident off of turn 2 just after we went back green, trying to recover, trying to get back up there, currently in the 10th position. There's that Hudson Hornet number 92. Right now P11 for Bryson Miller. Matt McIntyre and Rich Roy in a heated battle for 12th place. As Hector Garcia looked like he might have had a moment there through 3 and 4. He was in 8th place, and now he's going to drift back to 11th. Kenny Campos right now, last car on the lead lap in 14th, and he's not that far ahead of the race leader, Jack Merkel.
And Merkel has definitely increased the gap between him and Lamas, but Lamas has definitely been able to reel in some cars pretty quickly. I feel like the 48 has the fastest car on the track right now, but I'll definitely have to see how consistent he's able to stay. I don't know for sure that he's the fastest car on the track, but that's just a feeling that I get seeing him running these laps here from my vantage point.
Jack Merkel came into the night with the highest odds of winning this race, followed by Jolene Sims, Landon Lyle. Crystal Bennett was listed 4th on that list, but unfortunately she's not here tonight. Was going to take the green flag in this one, but I believe that I heard she has a broken rib. And so wishing her the best in a speedy recovery. And we also had another driver that was going to be in this race here tonight, but unfortunately couldn't make it, Jessica Shelton. We were going to see her in this race. I believe Kez Hiller was also another driver that we were going to see. For Shelton and Kez Hiller, they were both going to actually run some throwback cars to some relatives of theirs that ran back in the Grand National Series. So it would have been really cool to see those liveries out on track, but unfortunately circumstances did not allow either of them to be able to field those cars here this evening. But had a great turnout tonight. We've had some great racing so far, and
Indeed.
we're going to be coming around here very shortly to hitting 60 laps to go. Do I dare talk about the possibility of pit strategy?
I think it might be creeping up in the back of our minds. I think it's definitely something that's going to play a factor later on, assuming this green flag run lasts as long as it's been lasting right now. But we'll ultimately have to wait and see, because it feels like every long green flag run, we feel like we're just waiting for somebody to slip up and make a mistake.
Lap or two ago, Sebastian Kukelan just picked up the 7th spot on Carl Childress, so you know he's obviously hoping this thing doesn't go green to the end. He'd love to get another caution to catch back up, putting together some lap times equal to, if not maybe a tick faster than the leaders, and he may get it right there as Lamas and Sims get together. Oh, I thought that maybe Sims was going to get the edge of that pit wall.
Disaster averted, or I'd say a bigger disaster averted for Sims there, but still, I guess that's your sequel between her and Lamas. Is see if that brings out a caution.
I'd be surprised if it didn't. Joshua Mercurio was in the middle of that too, 3 wide. No, it looks like, hang on, let's wait until they make their way out of 2, because I thought before they were slowing up for a caution and they didn't. Nope, we're still green.
I mean, we've seen incidents in this race where multiple cars had already gone around. There was no yellow flag, so seems like the race officials are still being pretty lenient there.
Let's see if we can cut back and take a look at what happened. I believe they were, it looked like when we got up to them, they were 3 wide with Llama, Sims, and Mercurio. Oh, Cody got the wall. Mercurio's kind of looking low on Sims, and
Chain reaction.
yep.
Obviously not helped by a car getting in the wall there, but that was just a consequence of a chain reaction. Wrong place, wrong time for some of those cars.
Cut back live. Kenny Campos has had a moment there out of turn 2 down the apron. He's got it back rolling. And why I got really nervous there for Jolene Sims as she headed for that pit wall is I may or may not have spun off of turn 2 and impaled myself on that wall during practice. So I was seeing a little deja vu potentially there. Mercurio was 4th when that contact between Lamas and Sims took place. He was able to dart low, was able to avoid, now up into 2nd, and he's hoping that Jack Merkel has problems with this traffic up ahead of him. You saw Rich Roy pull low, but now Blake Warren, Bryson Miller just up ahead of the 24 as well.
Oh,
Whoa!
contact in the wall.
Big save there by Bryson Miller, and Merkel's going to try and shoot the gap here,
Oh
3
my.
wide. He
I
made it work, but that was gutsy.
Yeah, I don't know how he pulled that off. That, honestly, that might be the move of the race.
And now he's saying, your turn, Mercurio.
Get through that.
Mercurio's got to be smart here, too, because just a ways behind him, about 6-7 car lengths, is the 111 of Landon Lyle.
Oh,
Well, they might part the seas in front of him here. Blake Warren, Bryson Miller. Nope,
Oh.
Mercurio's going to get into it. Landon Lyle's going to get into it as well. And that is probably going to be the caution.
Mercurio looked like he was able to keep it straight.
He did. Landon Lyle actually got away from that as well, surprisingly. They both still crossed the line here in second and third, which is where they were at when that incident happened, as indeed the caution flag is out. Saw it happen live. We'll cut back and take a look at it here a little bit more in depth via a replay. I believe this was for position too, between the 8 and the 92. I think they were battling at the time for 12th place.
Oh yeah, it was another banking transition incident. 92 tried to get around him on the bottom, but then found himself on the flat part of the racetrack, and then nothing he could do on the way up. And you know, I feel like Mercurio was kind of hoping that they would get out of the way for him, but the cars weren't really leaving the banking. If they would have gone a little bit low during all that chaos and went under the flat part of the racetrack, I think that would have opened up a hole for Mercurio to be able to get by, but just couldn't quite get the gap that he needed.
Appeared like they really just couldn't get off of each other either, the 92 and the 8. This is on board looking ahead from the front of Joshua Mercurio.
I feel like he hit the brakes there almost.
You could almost kind of see the front end of the car darting left, right, left, right. Which way do I take? Which way are they going?
Split-second decision, but it's a tricky one too, because you got to make sure it's the right one, or you're going to find yourself going around. I think Mercurio got a little bit lucky that he was able to a couple more hits there at the end, straighten the car back out for him.
He got it pointed back in the right direction, was able to cross the line still in second place. And Landon Lyle, who got a piece of that, was third, and he crossed the line still in P3. They had built that much of a gap to the rest of the drivers behind them. Everybody was on pit road here under this caution period. Jury's out whether or not this is the pit stop to get them to the conclusion of this race, or if they'll still have to make one more pit stop between now and then. But it will be Merkel, Landon Lyle, Cody Lamas going to be the top three. This is the caution that Sebastian Kukulon wanted, because now he's caught back up into the fourth position. Looks like Jolene Sims is going to be in fifth. Scoring might be a little bit off with drivers where their pit stalls were when they crossed the stripe the last time. Looks like Joshua Mercurio is going to be sixth with Carl Childress, Hector Garcia, Dalton Tubbs. That's your top 9. And 10th place, I believe, is going to be the 29 of Rich Roy. What do you think? Should we dial up another driver?
Let's go for it.
All right, let's see if we can get a hold of who looks like to be one of the best cars in the long run here. Tonight's caution helping him out a ton. Let's see if we can dial up driver the 42.
User was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Sebastian, is the guys up here in the FRM booth? You got a copy? Give it another try here. Sebastian, you got a copy? Is the guys up here in the FRM booth?
Hi, hello.
Hey, man, I'll tell you what. You've had a really stout race car here tonight so far. Seen you be one of maybe the best on the long run. Got involved in that incident there on the last restart, but now you're caught back up with these guys. What can you do with them here with about, looks like about maybe closing on 50 laps to go?
We're gonna wall ride. That's what we're gonna do here, baby. Shake and bake.
Yeah, I feel like that may or may not end up being the best mentality in this race, but do you feel like that your car definitely has what it takes to try and go for the win, or do you think you're going to ride around a little bit and see what plays out in front of you?
I think for the start, we're gonna have to ride around a little bit. If we have opportunity to make a move, we'll make the move.
All
We'll
right,
see
well,
on the longer run.
looks like you guys are getting ready to go back green. Well, let's get back at it. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
User was moved out of
He'll
your
restart
channel.
in the fourth position here as Jack Merkel will get us back under green. Next time around, we are going to be at 55 laps, no, 55 laps to go.
Merkel with another solid restart. Able to gain some distance on Lyle and Lamas.
Couple spots lost there for Hector Garcia as Mercurio and Childress make their way around him. Lamas tried to look low there on Landon Lyle coming off of turn 4. You kind of saw the car get a little sideways when those left side tires got down onto the apron.
Oh, I thought Cody maybe had a run going into that corner there. Or maybe he did. I think the 111 kind of loosened up. Really a car around to the back. I think everybody kept it straight. I think it was the 8 car.
Yeah, I think you're right. Blake Warren getting loose there. Hangs onto it. Whoa! Oh, no!
Ooh.
Carl Childress in trouble. Rich Roy, Dalton Tubbs all involved. And the track's going to get blockaded up here on the exit of 4.
Probably going to bring out another caution.
I would not be surprised. Yep, cars are already slowing down here. So the yellow flag gonna wave once again here. Be interesting to see if anybody makes a dive onto pit road. Whoa, whoa, what's happening with Landon Lyle right there?
Careful there.
Gotta wonder if indeed these drivers are short on fuel. Every one of these cautions, will they take the opportunity to come down pit road, top off the fuel tank until they absolutely know they're going to be able to reach at the scheduled distance? As we take a look and see what happened here to the 81 of Carl Childress. He was in 7th and just drifts up there into that guardrail. And I guarantee you this guardrail, once it's got you, it doesn't want to let you go.
Exactly. I feel like that's the kind of how this guardrail has been working all race long. That's why we're seeing so many incidents where the cars are sliding up the racetrack and kind of not leaving the top. And that can make it a little bit tricky because you're on the top of the race. There are some cars that are on the top of the racetrack and then the car hits the wall in front of them. And then it's kind of a matter of what do you do? Is some cars going around on pit road?
This can be kind of the pitfalls of this type of pit lane. Rich Roy, I think he thought his pit stall was towards the back. He then changes his mind. Blake Warren's committed to his pit stall, and the two of them make contact. So it looks like for the majority of the leaders, they elected to stay out, including the 24 of Jack Merkel. Now we're up here speculating on what the fuel window is, whether these drivers got enough to get home. Why don't we find out from a driver themselves? Let's dial up the driver, that number 24, Studebaker.
User was moved to your
Hey
channel.
Jack, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
I'll tell you what, you've had a little bit of an experience of everywhere in the field here tonight. Mid-pack, rear of the field, playing a little bit of strategy in the early going of this race, and now you got this number 24 out in clean air. Obviously, we already knew coming in tonight passing was going to be difficult. Has all that pit strategy been what's culminated to you now having this car in the race lead?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a challenge to get around some people, and it's definitely a challenge to, even with the lap cars being the way they are, you definitely have to strategize what you're going to do and hope that when you get there, both of you kind of know what you're doing and don't put each other in the wall and cause a big pile up for sure.
I'm going to ask you earlier because something that happened earlier this race, we saw you take 2 of the lap cars 3 wide in the middle and go for the race lead to try to get past those lap cars. So what were your thoughts going on that? Because that was kind of a crazy moment there.
Yeah, I was coming up the corner and I just assumed they were both going to take it to the inside and kind of just get out of the way. And then the one went to the inside and Blake stayed up high. So I was like, all right, well, let me just kind of get into the middle. And then nobody really checked up. So I was like, I mean, whatever. I guess we're going 3 wide. I didn't want to really check up a lot and lose a bunch of time to second and end up, losing the lead or causing a big pileup. So I knew I had to get around him. And was like, whatever. I'll just If I have to throw it off in the one to get around them, then I will. It doesn't really matter.
One of the question marks we had coming into this race was fuel window. You guys good to make it the rest of the way from this point?
No, we are at least one more stop, depending on if we get another caution or not. But at least one stop, maybe two if it gets late in new tires or something like that.
All right, well, appreciate the information. We'll let you get back to it. Here's you ready to put us back under the green. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
User was moved out of your channel.
So Jack Merkel going to bring us back to green over Landon Lyle, Cody Lama, Sebastian Kukulon, and Jolene Sims. Joshua Mercurio in the 6th position. Your top 6 really have been the 6 strongest cars so far here in this one. And we heard it right there from the horse's mouth, Jack. We cannot make it on fuel. So big if, we end up going green to the end, going to be very interesting to see just how wide a window we have of the options for these drivers to make that final pit stop.
I wouldn't rule out the possibility of us getting a long green flag run either, because we've kind of seen a mix of everything in this race. We've had a bunch of long green flag runs, but we've also had a couple short runs too, that were littered with cautions and wrecks in between. As you see the 111 get into the wall, and around he goes.
He saves it. However, Kukulon's going to go around.
Oh,
and now there's going to be further contact. Kenny Campos, Dalton Tubbs down there. Look out, pit crews. Oh no, Landon Lyle. Oh.
I think they're able to get out of it.
Yep, he's very lucky. That follow-up hit there from Kenny Campos, I think, was enough to save him from being stuck in the pit wall. I think we're still green as Rich Roy went around there off the exit of turn 2. We may be coming back to the yellow here. I'm not certain. We won't have the yellow graphic displayed here until we have the confirmation that the yellow flag is out. No, we're still green. After all that, we're still green flag racing here.
And I think Jack Merkel just breathed a massive sigh of relief after knowing that they're still green, because now look at the gap from him to second.
Look at all these drivers back here. Landon Lyle, who's been in the top 5 all night long. We saw Sebastian Kukulon work his way back up to the top 5. Both involved in this one, and now in danger of being out of the conversation for this race victory if we continue to trend green. Cody Lamas loose there on entry into turn 3.
That could be really, really scary for Lamas there. I mean, a bit of contact, maybe a little bit of retribution there from the 66, but it's really tricky when you get into the wall and you get stuck. Like you talked about earlier, Seth, about how sometimes the car will get latched onto that guardrail that can be very tough to get away from it, but then you're also kind of getting squeezed up there because the cars that are on the bottom of the banking have nowhere else to go.
Maneuverability is extremely limited at a track like this. It's very narrow, and we're going to be double wide here going into 3 again. Hector Garcia throwing a bit of a block on Jolene Sims, and Carl Childress right there as well in his Chevrolet. Highest he's run so far here tonight. How about Blake Warren? We've seen him have a couple of loops off the corner. Right now he's in 6th position, hunting a top 5 here. Cody Lamas right behind him trying to recover, and good battle for 8th going on behind them. Matt McIntyre got his hands full with Mathis Wells. Been a while since we've given an update here on drivers in the garage area. We have had another driver retire from the race within the last 10 laps, that being Bryson Miller. He documented he had connection problems in the early going, got his laps back as saw some smoke there off of 2. Not sure who that belonged to, but we stayed green regardless. Bryson got back on the lead lap, was running up as high as 9th position, but he's now back in the garage area, going to finish 15th here tonight, joining Braden Coriath, Landon Laudenbach, Keon Daly, Ulysses Sandoval, and RJ Bishop.
Nice pass there by Cody. Definitely feels like that 48 has been one of the more consistent cars on the racetrack. It's just a matter of can he get the runs and try and work his way up back to the conversation. I mean, that question can also be asked for just about anyone here that's in from second up until about where Lamas is, because all that crashing allowed Jack Merkel to kind of pull away with the race lead.
5 seconds is the gap right now from Merkel back to this, the second place car of Joshua Mercurio. So if there's any driver in the field that doesn't want to see another caution flag, it'd have to be driver 24.
Definitely.
He's even right there. Nobody to battle. Merkel up the racetrack, and I believe he may have brushed the wall there through the center of 1 and 2. So even when you got all the racetrack to yourself, you got nobody hounding you from behind, nobody hindering you up ahead. This racetrack, it's called the track Too Tough to Tame, and you can have everything going right, and the track will say, no, you're not going to have it that easy.
I think it's just proof, too, that it doesn't matter whether you're out in front by an inch or by a mile. You are fighting the racetrack every inch of it. You're basically, like, we saw the 24 brush the wall there. You're having to kind of deal with that every single lap. Like, I'm pretty sure right now he's kind of shifting the wheel back and forth like we saw on some earlier onboard cameras, and you just kind of have to try your best to keep the car straight.
Merkel started this race from the middle of the front row as we had 3 wide starts here tonight. Jolene Sims, who started from the pole position, trying to get by Joshua Mercurio, who started middle of the second row, P5. It's the battle for second place right now. Cody Lamas has been able to catch up to what was a 2-car battle for 4th place between Carl Childress and Hector Garcia. Now makes it a 3-man fight for the spot. Ooh, close to that left rear. Contact made, but neither car spun.
I was going to say, yeah, if you're Cody, you probably just back out of it now so that we don't have another apron transition moment there, but that's exactly what he did. Oh, man. You see the way he went from bottom to top and worked his way around the 111 car. That was fun.
Oh, and Landon Lyle's going to go around. Might have gotten a little assistance there from Hector Garcia. The night goes even worse for a driver that was, for the most part of this race, up inside of the top 5. I don't think that'll be enough to bring out a yellow flag here, as we'll jump back up to the battle for second place. I wonder how much draft comes into play in this type of a race. Yet these two nose to tail, I don't know if they'd be able to produce enough straight line speed in a tandem to be able to close up on Jack Merkel or not. I would think more than likely being nose to tail is going to hurt their corner speed, because one's going to be having to check up a ton more for the driver in front of them.
I'm actually quite curious, too, to keep an eye on these lap times.
I think Matt McIntyre might have had a spin there on the apron of turn 2. He'll fall a lap down, so we got 11 drivers on the lead lap. Yeah, Mercurio, Sims both ran the high 42.8s. Jack Merkel ran a 42.767, so yeah, his lap time's a lot better than second and third. And he's having to deal with traffic too. He just moments ago got by Kenny Campos and put him, I believe, a second lap down. Rich Roy will be next on his hit list, as we have crossed the threshold of 40 laps to go. So the question is, when is that final pit stop going to have to take place?
we haven't really been able to keep track too much of what the fuel window is, because whenever we had a long green flag run, we feel like we're about to get pit stops, it suddenly gets cut off by a wreck, so have to see what happens this time.
Saw Jolene Sims showing the nose there for second, but wasn't to the left rear quarter panel, and we've already seen, some contact between drivers coming on and off of pit road. Also seen a number of drivers, even under caution, sliding through their pit stall. So, that's something else that drivers have to be aware of here is hit your marks, because you overshoot your pit stall, the amount of time you're spending having to back up before they service you, that could lose you valuable track time, subsequently positions, especially if you're the 24 and you want to maintain this over 5-second lead.
The 47 hit the wall there for a brief moment.
Cody Lamas is running the best lap times on the racetrack right now. Jack Merkel's consistently running 42 7s and 8s. Cody last time by ran at 42.6.
So my eyes did not deceive me. The 48
Nope.
did in fact have the fastest car on the track.
Fastest lap overall here tonight would be Jack Merkel, 41.899, which equates out to, get this, 117.391 miles per hour.
My goodness.
No, ladies and gentlemen, we're not racing go-karts. These are actually stock cars.
Very old school stock cars, but stock cars nonetheless. It has been a really nice throwback vibe here for this race. I mean, again, full credit to Robbie Gilvin. He's the one that put this whole thing together, and we've seen the work being put in on the look of the racetrack, the look of these old school stock cars. It's really been a nice classic vibe here for this race.
Pretty cool as well, the effort paying off as well in terms of a great turnout here tonight. The inaugural Southern 500 only saw 9 drivers take the green flag in that one, though it ended up being a really good run to the end. Ended up actually being a photo finish at the line. Robbie Gilvin taking that checkered flag, and here this evening we had 20 drivers take the green flag. Currently have 14 of them still out there on the racetrack, 9 of them on the lead lap, and again too, yes, we've seen cautions here tonight. We fully expected to see them with all the different facets of this type of racing, the handling of these race cars, how difficult this racetrack is, how difficult it is to pass. But it's not been these drivers that have been out there just wrecking each other for the sake of wrecking each other. It's because all of these tough issues we're talking about have come to light, and they're trying to find ways, trying to find little loopholes to be able to pick up spots, and this tough racetrack is not making it easy on them.
It is not, but to your earlier point too, it is fantastic to the massive increase in turnout. I mean, 20 might not necessarily be the highest number of drivers, but it's certainly a lot bigger than 9, so definitely great to see a lot of drivers showing up for this the action here at Darlington, and glad that I got to be a part of it as well in the broadcast booth.
I want to apologize to Jack Merkel. I know he's out in front and we don't have the camera on him a lot, but there's nobody he's really battling right now. This 3-car battle for the second position is taking place 6.5 seconds from his rear bumper, and now slower traffic's going to come into play as well.
That's going to set them even further back.
I believe that was the 8 of Blake Warren on pit road. That might be his final pit stop of the night. Rich Roy and Kenny Campos going to both move low, get out of the way of these 3 race leaders, 2nd through 4th. And
I'm
now
not sure
for
if
Jack Merkel, the question is, how do you run long here just in case a caution comes out, or do you maybe come to pit road and bank on maybe when you pit, you could stay on the lead lap, catch a caution, and cycle to the front again when everybody else has to pit?
That's a good question. I feel like if I was in front, I would probably try to dictate when I want to come to pit road. I want to kind of maybe tell everybody, force them to kind of bend to my strategy, but I don't know. I feel like you could also wait and see how other cars try to play because you'll maintain the lead for sure. What I was gonna say is I don't know if we documented it at all, but I got a message from RJ Bishop saying that his engine went boom, is what he told me. That's why he is no longer in the race.
Yeah, we saw him in our chat as well. His only comment? Ah. Probably what he exclaimed when the engine went boom. Well, thank everybody for tuning into our coverage here tonight. Been a blast to call this second annual 150 Southern 200 here from Darlington Raceway. We had someone earlier in our chat cheering on the 69 of Braden Coriath. Unfortunately, he is out of the race in 16th, but you got a driver you're rooting for here tonight. Don't be afraid to shout out and cheer for him here in our YouTube chat, and we'll try and focus, find out where they're running for you here. Ooh, look at this. 66, I thought was going to make a move for second, but instead, there's that late dive onto pit road, slides, drifts literally into the pit stall, and that's what I was worried about. Overshot, had to back up a little bit there, did the pole sitter Jolene Sims.
Now we have to keep our eye on Merkel because at some point he's going to pass by and notice that a car went on the pit road.
How long does the race leader wait before he makes the dive onto pit lane? And even as well, Joshua Mercurio and Cody Lamas, who were in that group of three with Jolene Sims. Do we see either of them dive onto pit road this time by? I think Cody's coming in this time. Matt McIntyre further back there, I saw.
Look at how much he has to brake.
Wow. Overshot his pit stall, has to back up. Matt McIntyre on pit road. Dalton Tubbs making his pit stop. Let's see what Merkel does. Is he coming in this time? Looks like he is.
He is. You gotta be careful. Don't have too much braking like Lamas did.
Blows it up, slides in. Wow, they're going to service him from that angle.
I think he's a bit lucky that they are. My car almost went around. Almost had to back up a little bit and try to get firmly in his pit box.
Rich Roy going to hit his marks. Mercurio going to take the race lead, but he's still got to come to pit lane. I believe the 46 of Hector Garcia, the 81 of Carl Childress, and the 42 of Sebastian Kukulon are some of the other drivers that we are currently waiting on. As a matter of fact, Childress and Garcia, they're duking it out for what currently would be second place. Matt McIntyre, again coming off of pit lane, might have missed his pit box. Oh no, I'm actually being told a black flag penalty for the 738. There's no pit road speed, so maybe there was a merge point off of pit road that he missed. He had to come down and serve that as Sebastian Kukulon on pit road. So how much further can our top three go is going to be the question. Mercurio, Childress, and Garcia.
Childress slowing down a little bit there through that corner. Thought it was the front stretch of my brain, but no, they're going down the back.
There's Jack Merkel, who is still on the lead lap, even after the pit stop. Shows just how good of a gap he had, and Matt McIntyre back on pit road, sitting in his pit stall now.
Serving that penalty, I think.
Here's an idea of the difference in tires. Sebastian Kukulon on 4 fresh feel goods, going to make his way around the race leader, Joshua Mercurio. This puts Kukulon back on the lead lap, so, if a caution were to come out, that's a huge pass if you're driver 42, because then you'd be able to line up with the race leaders rather than having to start at the tail end of the field via a lucky dog. Ooh, 81 in the wall.
Ooh.
Contact between himself and Garcia. He saves it. Garcia will move into second, at least for the time being. Childress back to third. Merkel not that far behind these guys, and he'll gain more ground with both of them losing momentum. Having that contact. I think after that, if I'm the 46 and the 81, I'm coming to pit road now.
I think so, yeah. Just get out of the way right now. Stay out for a little bit longer.
Mathis Wells there in the 9 on pit road. I thought he was already good to make it on fuel, but that might have been his final pit stop. Might have been running long, trying to hope for a caution to save him. 2 laps down in the 12th position. And Mercurio continues to lead. I mean, I don't think, I'm watching these lap times here, and Mercurio's running about 1.5 seconds slower than the fastest lap he's put down tonight so far, and I don't see, without where Merkel came to pit road, I don't see there's any way that Mercurio would be able to save enough here on this run to get to the conclusion. That might be what he's trying. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, when we talked to one of the drivers, I forget who it was, but they said that they felt as though that was about, I think, 50-ish laps to go. They said they felt that they were 1 stop short, but they weren't 100% certain. I'm not totally certain either.
Yeah, that was Merkel who said that they were going to have to stop one more time before the conclusion. Though we didn't really get a reading of just exactly how short they were going to be. As Kenny Campos making his final pit stop. I mean, right now for Jack Merkel, if indeed Mercurio is trying to make it the rest of the way, which he'd have to make it another 20 laps, and we're not sure exactly how short on fuel they would have been even before that final pit stop. Right now, Merkel is only 15 seconds behind Joshua Mercurio. He is running 42 9s to Mercurio's 43 7s. So if the calculations are correct, he would have caught Mercurio within 16 laps, but now Mercurio is on pit road. So that should put the 46 of Hector Garcia to the race lead, and if indeed Hector leads this time around, he didn't lead that lap, but if he comes around this time and crosses the stripe, that'll be his first lap led of the entire night.
Like we've been seeing that 46 get really close to the wall in a lot of moments. Same thing with the 81 there, though. I think he was just trying to get out of the 24's way.
Garcia's just going to hang on with Merkel on his back bumper there. He'll lead a lap tonight. And here comes Merkel to the bottom. That'll put the 24 back in the race lead with less than 20 to go. Jack Merkel has led 50 laps here tonight. Jolene Sims, who started on the pole, 35. Sebastian Kukul on 19 and Cody Lamas 15. So a quartet of drivers have led double-digit laps here this evening at Darlington, and Jack Mitchell hoping that he can lead the last 18.
I didn't know I was in the car.
Sorry, Jack Merkel, the other Jack.
Felt like it was going to happen eventually. Where you got our names confused. Is Hector going to bring that thing on the pit road?
I'm curious, are they going to service the left side of that car? And if so, how in the world does the left rear tire changer get in that little space?
Got to squeeze.
Oh, that's Mercurio back down pit road.
Ooh. Not sure why the 47 is back down pit road and teleported to his box too, so he's going to spend a little bit of extra time there, but he really got impaled in that little entrance into the infield.
Wonder if he got a black flag penalty of some kind. I didn't see anything flash on my scoring, but I can only assume that'd be the reason he's back down pit road. That's a tough break there for a driver that, for the most part tonight, has been up inside of, if not the top 5, the top 3. Led a number of laps here in the closing stages of this one. 8 laps out in front. And now, on pit road late, going to fall off the lead lap and may lose a couple more, having to call that tow as well. Effectively, I think that's going to take the 47 out of the race completely, because with overshooting your pit stall and then calling a tow, that is the furthest point and the longest tow you can possibly have. For those that don't know how the tow works, basically it's at where you call the tow, it calculates from that distance to your pit stall how long it would take if you were running under pacing. And obviously that we're talking almost a complete lap under pacing that's calculating there for the tow for the 47 of Joshua Mercurio. So tough break there for him. He's not even going to more than likely finish this race inside of the top 10, which is not indicative of the speed he had here tonight. So Merkel the leader still. 10 seconds is the gap back to second place, which is Jolene Sims. If you tuned in earlier on tonight, this car was up and on its roof over in the middle of 1 and 2. Great job of fighting back, and right now in line for a podium finish. Third position right now, Cody Lamas, who's going to have to deal in a moment with the lap car of Dalton Tubbs. Sebastian Kukul right now in the 4th spot. And the 5th position currently is being held by the 81 of Carl Childress. Our top 4 drivers on the racetrack right now, all qualified in the top 4 positions as Cody Lamas.
Oh, boy.
Dalton Tubbs up and over. Back on all 4 wheels, fortunately.
I mean, that very well could have brought out a caution. The fact that he was able to keep it going makes me think they're probably going to keep it green, but that definitely would have turned this race upside down, to say the least.
Big save for Jolene Sims right there as well through 1 and 2. To your point, let's see if maybe a flipping race car is enough to bring out the yellow. And if that's the case, we're going to have ourselves a restart with a handful of laps left. No, looks like we are still, to your point, green. After the 50 car was able to get it back going again. Oh, Matt McIntyre's gone around there on the inside of 1 and 2. As Rich Roy pulls low out of the way of Merkel. Merkel's hearing all these things happening around the racetrack, seeing all these skid marks and thinking, come on guys, please keep it clean.
He probably had a heart attack when he heard about a car flipping.
Yeah. Oh, 81 on pit road here. I believe this is an unscheduled pit stop. Unless, hang on, let me just double check here. No, this is a scheduled stop. That's the last pit stop of the night for Carl Childress. He went further than anybody there. I thought everybody had already made their final stops, but the 81 was still maybe waiting for a caution to come out, maybe gain an advantage on tires over the rest of the field. This is going to drop him out of the top 5 now, put Hector Garcia up to 5th. This may be our best battle in the closing stage if we continue to trend green, and we've seen the 66 and the 48 into each other a few times here tonight.
That we have. Almost wonder if there's maybe one more in store, but with only 10 laps left, I don't really know if they're going to have enough time to get back together again.
Landon Lyle and Dalton Tubbs. This is not for position. Tubbs is right now 1 lap down in 6th. Landon Lyle is multiple laps down in 12th. And it looks like Joshua Mercurio officially is done for the night. He is going to
Tough
finish
break.
in 14th place here this evening. Yeah, tough break there. Had a really good car. Tried to play some long game strategy there on this green flag pit stop cycle, and some type of a penalty during that pit stop takes him out of the running for the checkered flag. That was an odd shift.
Yeah. I think anything went too wrong, though.
Maybe an accidental downshift there from Merkel in preparation for 1 and 2. He is going to have some traffic up ahead. Blake Warren will be first, and I don't know if he'll get to this pack here with Tubbs and Childress, Garcia, and Lyle. So drop back here to 2nd and 3rd, see if that gap is closed up at all. Right now scoring showing a distance of about 3 seconds from Sims back to Lamas. Lap times are looking more so in the favor of Cody by about 3 to 4 tenths per lap. Don't know if that's going to get him to Sims here before we get to the checkered flag or not. As 81 comes back out onto the racetrack, and oh, whoa, hold on to it. Oh!
Keep it straight. Get it pointing in the right direction.
Fortunately, nobody was very close to the vicinity as he was trying to gather that thing back up. Now you see Mathis Wells and Jolene Sims going on by. Landon Lyle is dropped back here to Blake Warren, so he might have had a moment. He was up there in that group of 4 not too long ago. So now there'll be a couple of cars just ahead of the race leader, Merkel. And Merkel just got the wall there off of 4.
Just tabbed the wall a couple times. Keeps it going, though.
I almost wonder if maybe that's why we ended up seeing that random downshift there on the front straightaway. Maybe he got the wall on that lap as well, and may have been trying to just get a little bit of extra straight line speed shifting down.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Merkel, I know the finish line is in sight. I feel like you just want to take it as calm as you possibly can at this point, because obviously you still want to be running, fast enough to be able to win the race, but at the same time, nobody's really in your vicinity. Nobody's really threatening you for the race win. So I would maybe take it just a little bit easy. Don't go too aggressive. Don't try to make moves if you don't need to make them.
Especially when you've got them racing double wide ahead of you right now.
Let them take each other out. Don't get involved. Although then again, he took some lap cars 3 wide earlier, so he probably has a different mindset.
Darlington is definitely a rhythm track as well, so you don't want to back the pace down too much that it throws off your rhythm, as he'll try and draw a bead here on Blake Warren and Landon Lyle. As you said, though, he's got a nice cushion to work with, so you don't have to necessarily force the issue right now. I mean, the last thing you want to do if you're Merkel is get into one of these two guys and force the caution.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be the caution yourself while trying to make sure you get to the end of the race green.
Taking his time, being patient, just trying to see if he can get some momentum on the 8. He'll try down the back straightaway. Looks like a car went around down the infield grass there through 1 and 2. Kenny Campos in the 3. He's had a tough night, currently multiple laps down in the 11th position. Merkel got by Blake Warren, and now he'll try and see if he can get by Landon Lyle here. Off of turn 4 and onto the front straightaway. Lyle's going to get the wall, so makes that pass clean. Warren's going to move on by as well. 3 to go. Ever since he got the race lead and has had clean air, it has been all driver 24 in the second half of this race. Executed fairly well on the final pit stop. Overshot a little bit, but was able to back up, get the service done. Had what was about 6-second gap before that. Now it has increased to 16 seconds. Back to Jolene Sims, and it looks like barring any issues, she's going to hold on to second place, still maintaining 4 seconds back to third place, Cody Lamas.
This has just been a dominant showing from that 24 car.
There's a reason the bookies had him as the favorite in terms of the odds makers tonight.
That's what I was going to say. I was checking the notes, and he is was the leader in terms of the odds for the race win. Had him at plus 300.
This time off of turn number 4, Jack Merkel's going to look up into the flag stand. He's going to see the flag he's been waiting for probably the last 20 to 25 laps. The white flag is going to be in the air over the hood of his Studebaker. One more lap around the Darlington Raceway.
Yeah, just such a dominant showing from him, and he's definitely going to make sure that he gets the best ending possible to it. Cap off this masterclass by being the first car of the checkered flag.
Saw that smoke off of turn 4. I think Cody Lamas had an issue, and I don't think he's going to even reach the checkered flag. Off of 4, the second annual Fitty Southern 200 at Darlington is going to go to Jack Mitchell. He will conquer the lady in black. Did I say Mitchell again? I meant Merkel. There are too many Jacks in my life. Jolene Sims brought it home in second. And issues in the closing stages for Cody Lamas will put Sebastian Kukulon on the podium tonight as he will cross and finish in third. Looks like both Cody Lamas and Kenny Campos both retired out of the race in the final 5 laps. We had 3 scheduled Studebakers to be in the field tonight. 2 of them took the green flag, and they will make up the first and second place finishers of our podium here tonight. Jack Merkel burning it down here on the start-finish line at the Darlington Raceway, winner of the Southern 200 here in the Fitty Racing Group.
Matt McIntyre also showboating a little bit for the camera there.
Matt McIntyre celebrating 13th.
He's having a good time.
Yeah.
It's a special event. No points on the line. Everybody can have a little bit of fun here.
Here's a look at how they finished here this evening. Merkel with the victory, leading a race high 69 laps. Very nice. Jolene Sims started from the pole, led 35 laps, finishes second. Sebastian Kukulon, 19 laps out in front, brings it home in third. Hector Garcia will finish in fourth. He was the last driver to finish on the lead lap. Dalton Tubbs will net a top 5. First car 1 lap down in fifth. Cody Lamas did not reach the conclusion. 2 laps down, still finishes 6th. Blake Warren will finish in 7th, with Carl Childress in 8th. Rich Roy was 9th, and Mathis Wells completed the top 10. 11th place was Landon Lyle. Kenny Campos in 12th. Matt McIntyre 13th. And then you see out of the race the cars of Joshua Mercurio, Bryson Miller, Braden Coriath, Landon, I'll get the first name right, Landon Laudenbach in 17th, Keon Daly 18th, then Ulysses Sandoval 19th, and RJ Bishop with a mechanical failure finished out the rest of the field. A wild one here tonight. The average race speed was 96.416 miles per hour, which was actually faster than the inaugural one Fitty Southern 200. This one was 147 laps in length. The first annual Southern 200 was actually only 100 laps in length, and the average speed of that race was 70.539 miles per hour. So longer race, but a higher average speed here this evening. Had a lot of lengthy green flag runs during the course of it as well, and ended up seeing a total of, it looks like 11 drivers reached the conclusion of the 20 that took the green flag to start this race. This will take us into our FRN post-race wind down. May have been a somewhat slower race, but I'll bet it was definitely one that was an endurance race for these drivers, and just going to check and see if we had anybody available for post-race interviews. I don't think we have second or third. Like they did not stick around, but we do have our race winners. So let's see if we can dial up the winner of the second annual Southern 200, Jack Merkel.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey Jack, it's Seth and Jack up here in the FRN booth. You got us?
Got you loud and clear.
Okay, so first off, apologies. I called you Mitchell as you crossed the line, so I've got too many Jacks I'm having to deal with here apparently.
I think it's my fault.
But man, great run for you here tonight. We mentioned you were able to get up there to the front, had the clean air, pretty much able to set the pace after that, able to increase the race lead prior to the pit stop, continue to build on it after the pit stop, but we also noticed that even when you weren't dealing with traffic, even when you didn't have any pressure from behind, this racetrack still seemed to be very difficult to navigate.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you didn't get the entry right or anything like that, you could get up into the guardrail. And 1 and 2 was bad about if you caught it wrong, it could slow you down 10, 15 mile an hour. And 3 and 4 was bad about just spitting you back out if you hit it, especially coming out of turn 4. And I hit it a couple times, it got loose and got scared, but thankfully I was able to keep it under control and keep it going.
Yeah, we noticed you had a couple of moments there on that last green flag run, so we were a little bit nervous, but you ultimately did manage to hold on to it, as you said. So nice, solid race win for you. I mean, it was a 20-second gap between you and second place. So how does it feel to come away with this win?
Yeah, definitely coming into it, I knew I was the favorite on the odds that Robbie made or whatever, and I knew I like Darlington. I knew I could be good, but I just couldn't really get a grasp of it to start. And I knew people were kind of running faster than I was, and knew that it would be hard to pass, so I knew I had to be where I needed. Track position was going to be key. And just got lucky that nobody really kind of knew the pit road sequence stuff, so it was all kind of a mess on that, and ended up getting the lead out of that. And then that restart, Cody and the 111 had that battle and took everybody back, and then Josh ended up holding people off for a long time, and I was able to get a good lead and just be able to hold it for the rest of the run and keep everybody behind me, thankfully.
You brought up an interesting point that I kind of want to kind of dig a little deeper onto, where you talked about, the period of adjustment of trying to get used to how to approach this racetrack. I mean, here tonight, you guys came in with a different EXC. Obviously, these are not the normal type of speeds that we're used to seeing at a Darlington Raceway. Most of the time, we end up having special events. It's pretty cut and dry, right? We have the high speeds, whether it's a speedway, a super speedway, a short track, and everything. You're kind of used to what the handle of the race car potentially could be. There could be some tweaks in it being a little bit looser, a little bit tighter, depending on the setup. This is an entirely different animal. I mean, as I said earlier on in the night, one of the drivers aptly called these boats with wheels. They literally drove much different than anything else. So when you talk about that period of adjustment here tonight, how interesting, how annoying is that from a driver's perspective, having to kind of tackle something entirely new for a special event?
Yeah, I think the most annoying thing to get used to when I first did it was that the cars, like, they revved out at like 5,500, so it was having to make sure to shift before then. And then it was really like they said, boats with wheels. It was really like it was loose, but even if you were loose and sliding, the car was still tight. So you had to kind of get a balance of how loose do I want to be going through this corner while also being able to get it around the corner and not hit the guardrail. And then you couldn't really lose momentum, because if you lost momentum, there's not a lot of power, so it took forever to get it back up. And so it was a real big juggle to keep up momentum, but also keep the car just enough on the edge so that you're not losing a lot of time, and make sure you're not losing control or getting too tight or too loose. Or
Did we lose him?
did you?
I think we might have lost him.
Yeah, I think we did.
I might have cut out for a second.
Oh, he's back.
Okay, I might have cut out for a second.
Good.
Yeah, just trying to keep a balance of it and keep the car going, and just keep from wrecking, and keep from wrecking into other people, but also keep from destroying the right side of your car, and being able to just keep it going and run a clean race.
Well, we ended up seeing an incredible run out of you here tonight. You brought it home solidly with the victory. We're able to maintain and increase the gap the longer the race went on. I said to Jack, probably as soon as he came off of turn 4, saw that white flag in the air, huge sigh of relief, knowing that you were going to be able to close this out, not have to defend on a late race restart. We'll let you get back to your celebrating here in just a moment, but first we're going to hand it over to you for some Victory Lane thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Just thanks to, I think I have my last name on the side of the car, so thanks to me for giving myself a good car. Thanks to Studebaker for making such a great car for me to make out of a race car. And thanks to all the lap cars that I passed that did not wreck me. I really appreciate them.
That is Jack Merkel. He brings it home with the victory here tonight. He takes the second annual Southern 200 from Darlington Raceway. Congratulations on a job well done. Go and enjoy this win.
Thank you.
And I'm being
User
yelled at
was
in
moved
our
out of your
chat.
channel.
He didn't bring it home on the podium, but he's still here, and we don't have our other podium finishers, so I guess we'll talk to Cody Lamas.
Okay, Cody.
User was moved to your channel.
All right, Cody, it's the guys up here in the booth. What do you want?
Hey, hi.
You didn't finish on the podium, man. How do you qualify for an interview?
Well, all the other people left.
Yeah?
I think they got mad and they left.
I mean, we see a guy doing burnouts for 13th, a guy that finishes 6th once in an interview. What's going on here?
Hey, man, I was a show, I would say, that race. So I thought
You were a
wanted to
show,
ask
all
me
right.
questions.
He did do well, in
It was
fairness.
like, it's funny because Jack mentions, we haven't had a car flip over the wall yet, and then we see you and the 66 make the contact. It's almost like you're saying, here, hold my beer. I'll flip a car over the wall. Why not?
Yeah, I didn't do an unfortunate job enough, and then I didn't get any payback in return, so I guess I didn't do that good of a job.
I mean,
But no.
again, we did bring up a few times too. You had the fastest lap, or I don't know if it was the fastest lap, but you certainly had one of the faster cars all race long. So you were pretty consistent. Do you think maybe if you were able to maintain your spot near the front, you think you could have gone for the win?
Yeah, I would say me and Jack were pretty. He had I think I don't know if he admitted it on the interview, but he said during the race that he was struggling on the exit of 2. I felt like I was a little better off at 2. And it's just hard to tell after the, I think I had like a 6-8 seconds of damage from that little bounce into the air. But I don't know, it was just, someone's got to try the passes, sometimes you're the chrome horn.
Or in your case, sometimes you're the bug or the bug.
Yeah, you can only be so nice to like when people keep hitting the guardrail and constantly in front of you for multiple laps. And it's just like you got to try it at that point, right? Because you're losing time, and sometimes you're there. What is it? The bug. Sometimes you're the window. These cars do have big windows.
They do indeed. Well, Cody, I mean, obviously, not the finish I know that you wanted, but it's as we alluded to, you had one of the stronger cars of the night, turned some really fast, consistent laps, even just prior to the green flag pit stops, and then afterwards as well. We were kind of wondering if maybe we're going to see a battle between you and Sims for that second spot. Just didn't seem like it seemed to close up quickly enough. But I mean, obviously a top 3 car. It seemed like all night long. You're bringing home 6th place here this evening. Nonetheless, a strong showing here in this special event. So congratulations on the good race overall. Even though the final couple laps didn't work out the way that you were hoping. And we'll give you a chance here for some thank you sponsors and shoutouts.
Well, no, I will say that the game gave me a can and a half of, or what was it, a can and a half of fuel instead of when I had 2 selected. So that's why I didn't give you guys sadly an entertaining battle for second, because I realized with 5 to go, like, oh, I had no fuel, so it was pretty much at the game over at that point. So thanks to the game, thanks to NR, thanks for that. They were not filling up my fuel. I don't know what they're doing in the 50s these days, but. Thanks to everybody for a nice, clean race, right? Smile. Fun. I had fun. Good. It was a good event. Good. Props to Robbie. I will say this was my first one, and it was a good time. So definitely looking forward to doing these again.
Well, I can say to you in terms of the NR reset thing, I feel your pain. It had to do the same thing to me on Tuesday night, so I'm right there with you.
Apparently, Jack had that happen his last race too. So I don't know. Maybe it's a trend going around now.
Maybe this sim has finally reached its end. Maybe it's time for NR to die.
NR 2025 is probably needed.
There was at least 3 people this race who couldn't pit their car. So there you go. There's something going on in the gas tank,
happening.
If you know what I mean.
There's a glitch. There's a glitch in the universe somewhere. Well, Cody, congratulations on the great run here tonight. Had a strong performance, and if we end up seeing another one of these, maybe we see maybe park this number 48 in victory lane then.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
User was moved out of
All
your
right.
I have one more suggestion, if possible. I think maybe, since he's still here, we should probably talk to the man who put this race together.
That's what I was literally going to do. I was going to say we were remiss if we didn't talk to the guy that did all the hard work in organizing this. I mean, this guy was putting stuff together months in advance. I know this firsthand. He was getting everything organized. A lot of effort put into it, whether it was through promotion, whether it was through obviously designing the racetrack. Definitely got to give him his flowers. Let's see if we can dial up the organizer of tonight's event, Robbie Gilvin.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Robbie, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
No. What's up?
Well, man, I mean, what an event here tonight. We just prefaced all the preparation you put into this, whether it was through promotion, whether it was with the designing of this racetrack here, the putting together of the EXC, all that stuff. I mean, I said it earlier tonight. You heard me tell you this is one of the few races where I was kind of a little bummed that I'm up here in the booth, not out there racing it out with these guys. It was such a fun setup, such a fun type of car and track setup to be able to drive. Obviously, we had some issues here tonight, which we fully expected were going to be happening. We talked about all the difficulties, whether it was the inability to pass, how difficult these race cars are to drive, but we also saw some really good long green flag runs from an organizer administration point of view. How did this come off for you tonight? That bad, huh?
I did. Yeah. No, I'd say this is about a 6 or 7 out of 10. There could have been a lot more. Could have gone a lot more flawlessly, but given, we kind of pulled the golden horseshoe out of our ass on this one, it wasn't too bad, all things considered.
Well, we ended up hearing a lot of the drivers that we talked to were saying that they were having a lot of fun out there, whether they were running well or not running all that well. Obviously, a lot of battles going on here through the field during the course of this race as well, so that was definitely good to see. Obviously, a lot of people don't realize, I don't think, with these events, they tune in, they see the broadcast, they don't know all of the effort that goes into putting something like this together. This racetrack that we ended up seeing here tonight, the design of it, this was a completely brand new racetrack, completely designed by yourself. I think you said you had some help there as well. Talk about the efforts in putting together this racetrack.
Well, for one thing, this track was based off of the 60s version of Darlington that Delta Sim Racing had. This is merely a graphical edit. Nothing major to the configuration was done. So they really should get all the credit for it. All I did, we just added some graphical stuff to it and made it look a little more 50s-y. But yeah, with it on the whole, this has been in the works since at least January of this year. This is actually a year to the day from last year's Southern 200, and we figured may as well make this kind of the flagship special event for Juan Fitty. I'm thinking I'm probably going to put out a poll, see if we need a faster package or not for next year. Because it was the reception was a little mixed, but on the whole, it seemed like everybody had a great time. But
Well, we went back and we looked, obviously, we documented, you put together that program and everything that we adhered to during the course of the night and everything, too. And we ran 47 laps more here in this Southern 200 than you guys did in the inaugural one, and we went 20 miles per hour faster in the average speed. So, I think the long green flag runs definitely added to that, but definitely seemed like here tonight, pace seemed to be pretty good. The racing seemed to be really good as well. We want to give the opportunity here also because obviously this is a special event, and you've had numerous special events during the course of the year. You got some more coming up here at the end of the year. I believe you got a series that's starting up as well. So we want to give it the opportunity here to also be able to promote that in case people seeing the racing that we had here tonight would like to be able to join any of that.
yeah, October 4th, we will be at Talladega Speedway with the Grand National 70 cars. We'll be there for the Harvest 250. As it sits right now, that'll be our last special event for the year. We may have one squeezed in between then and the start of our Skull Bandit Truck Series starting October 31st at Daytona. Just 90s pickup trucks. That's our weekly series for the winter. And we may have one more weekly series before we get started back up next year with our special event roster throughout the summer. Probably do a Rebel 200 or a Rebel 100, excuse me, to start off the special events, kind of like we did this year. We have a Rebel 100, and then we usually do about one every month from April through October, really. And so that'll be probably coming out here in due course for next year's special event schedule.
Well, obviously, if anybody would like to be able to join up for that stuff, we're going to, once this broadcast is concluded, we're going to be in the description of this video putting in the link to the Juan Fitty Racing Group's Discord, so you can head on over there. You can get in touch with Robbie, sign up for those events and whatnot that are going to be taking place here. They just heard him talking about. Robbie, congratulations on a job well done tonight here. Not even in terms of just all the preparation and everything, but the administration, putting together a great package. We appreciate you bringing Flatout Racing Network on board to be able to call this event. We don't normally get to call something like this. This is one of those unique ones that people don't necessarily expect to see, and it's a lot of fun to be able to call something different like this. So appreciate you bringing us on board to be able to call this event, and great job overall on putting together an incredible event here tonight.
Yeah, maybe I'll have enough money in my wallet to do it every time.
Sounds good. Hey, no complaints here. No complaints
for me.
here. Well, Robbie, congratulations on an overall great event here tonight, and best of luck here in what you've got coming up here, continuing for the Juan Fitty Racing Group.
10-4, I can go get drunk now. Bye.
User left your channel.
Robbie Gilvin, the administration here for the Juan Fitty Racing Group, the organizer and the event planner, if you will, of tonight's Southern 200. Won by Jack Merkel and Jack Mitchell. I get them correct this time. A great event here tonight. As we said, we prefaced it, this was an unusual one. We normally, whenever we end up calling races here on FRN now for the most part, we end up usually having it be super speedway races, or we end up having like a normal Cup Series schedule or something like that. A special event here tonight, 1957 based Darlington, 1955 Grand National cars, entirely different type of racing racing package than what drivers are used to. It was a lot of fun to call something like this.
It was. I like pushing the envelope a little bit when it comes to what races I've called before. Obviously, I'm still relatively new here at FRN, but this was definitely one of the more unique things that I've called, and I've definitely enjoyed it. Definitely not something I typically see, but whenever anything like this happens, it's fun to be involved in. So credit to you guys for allowing me to jump in the booth for this one.
We thank you all for tuning to our coverage here tonight as well. Hope you guys all enjoyed it as you've been watching the second annual Juan Fitty Racing Southern 200. Jack Merkel, your winner here tonight. This again concludes this week's coverage of broadcasts for FRN. Next week, we start off on Wednesday night. The playoffs continue. It's the fifth playoff race of the 2025 season for the Esports Oval League Grind Cup Series, as they will take to their final road course stop of the season, the Charlotte Roval. Green flag will wave at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Thursday night, it's the second race of the 66th season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series, as you will see it broadcasted simultaneously here on Flatout Racing Network and our friends over at Tarnation TV. Green flag will fly at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Will we see a new name join the ranks of Chuck McClure into this season's playoffs? But that's coming up next week. We thank you all for joining us for our coverage here tonight. For Jack Mitchell, I'm Seth Cole. Thanks for spending your Saturday evening with us, folks, as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.